We'll get Dean in, our man who was the jinx last year, who every time he turned to a game, we never won except when we beat Collingwood. Dean, welcome.
How you going, A-Rod?
I'm well. What do you make of that performance, especially the second half, probably more in particular?
It was really hard to watch first 10 minutes, especially. I just thought they were going to get away with us. We did well to hang on. I just think it all started in the ruck in the second half. Rhys Stanley getting that first tap, and they just seemed to pick up every ball that spilled on the ground as well.
They did, didn't they?
I'm surprised as to why Clarkson maybe didn't give McAvoy a spell in the ruck, even just for 5 minutes to control the bleeding, especially in that third quarter.
Yeah, well, he did that in round one. I mean, I know we were winning in round one, but he chucked McAvoy in the ruck in against Brisbane in the last quarter. So, yeah, I'm a bit surprised he didn't do it today. I mean, we were 6 or 7 goals down at three-quarter time. So, it may have been worth it, but he probably just thought, just keep him down in defence.
I just thought the game was there to be won, in the third quarter, and we could have done something to control the game and then screw a few goals back, and he just didn't do it. Nothing came to fruition, so it was surprising. But yeah,
who else? Who disappointed you?
Who disappointed me? I just think it was just inside midfielders, because that's where the game was won, I think, tonight. Look, I'm not saying the result would have changed if we had O'Meara in there, but I think it would have made us a bit less predictable, having more rotations in the midfield if we had O'Meara in there tonight. But I just think, and I think someone said it earlier as well, O'Meara, Warple and Mitchell just need more games together to develop that relationship, because
absolutely
in our 3-feet area we had Hodge, Mitchell, Lewis, right, and it was just like clockwork. And again, I just nowadays it's as if we've got the extractor in Tom Mitchell, but we just don't have that poise to be able to hit a target. It's just throwing it on our boot as well, and I think that's the difference between us and your Collingwoods and your Richmonds at this stage. But we're not far off, I don't think.
I don't think we are far off. I mean, you got to remember, this is the first time. I mean, Geelong completely outplayed us, absolutely. But we haven't played down there for 14 years. I think it was only 8 or so players have played down there.
Yeah, the dimensions.
And they all played for opposition. They all played for opposition teams when they did play down there. So I think on the MCG it would have been, Geelong still might have won, but I don't think it would have been a 10-goal margin. And you got to remember the ground width. I mean, Geelong train on that ground. They play 9 games down there every season, so they know it like the back of their hand. So I mean, terrible performance in the second half. Plenty to work on, but I wouldn't be losing my rag just yet. Who?
I was gonna say, I think some people may disagree with this, but I thought defensively, back 6-wise, we were actually okay. We dealt with the ball coming in well, especially in the air. I just think because the Geelong players had so much momentum, you've got your running midfielders, they were just picking up the scraps every time in the midfield when they delivered it in. Whereas man on man, our back 6 stood up well, Frawley, Frost. I thought they did rather well. They did what they could. It was just when the minute the ball hit the ground, it was just chaos, I think.
I mean, Myers, Ablett. I mean, Rowan kicked a goal, but he didn't have much of an impact. But every time we play against Gary Ablett, whether he's playing for Geelong or when he was at the Gold Coast, he just dominates. I mean, you could put a tagger on him, but it's just every time we play Gary Ablett, he could retire at the end of the season, and we could play Geelong next season, and he'll still dominate us, and he won't even be on the field. I just don't think there's any way that we, can stop Gary Ablett at all. But what do you think of you talk about their smalls, with Myers and Ablett, Rowan to a degree. We have Poppy, as we've said, who's probably on his last legs. Hanrahan, who's only, 10 games into his career, has shown a bit, but there's still plenty of work to do there. Is there anyone, in the reserves off the top end who could come in to play a similar role?
Yeah. Well, for start, I think with Hanrahan, take away the second half, he was really clean with the ball, I noticed, in the first half. I think he's going to be a decent player for us. But in reserves wise, I think it's just a matter of blooding them in now. Like, it's like we need to replace like your Poppy, maybe like your Dylan Moores, your Matt Walkers. Maybe you've got to give them a chance, but it's just a shame we don't have the Box Hill system running at the moment, because we will never know unless we play them, unless there's scratch matches.
Matt Walker's the one, I think. He's not really a small forward. He's more like your Brewsty type.
Yeah.
But Dylan Moore's an interesting one. You mentioned Dylan Moore. He's a very interesting one. I don't know what his best position is. Is he a small forward, or is he because he can run all day? He's a good endurance. Is he a small forward? Is he a winger? I don't think he's not an inside midfielder. Is he a half forward? What's Dylan Moore's best position?
I think it's yet to be determined, purely because we haven't seen enough of him. Again, like, not having the VFL isn't going to help, and just it's a shame because, again, I think it's going back to comparing us against your better sides like your Collingwoods and your Richmonds. They've got 30 players ready to go that can do a job. I think we need to work out our bottom 10 players. Are they good enough? Can they stand up and do well from us? And so I think that's the difference between a premiership side and non-premiership side. You need to have bottom players and your reserve players. They need to be able to come in and do a job. And I think that's what got us that 3-peat. Like Clarkus, you lose a soldier, you replace him with another. So I think that's going to be our trouble this year, because it's going to happen. We're going to have injuries and stuff, and it's like, who's going to come in and do a job for us? And I mentioned the comments earlier. I think they're saying over channel saying I think Burgoyne could be in trouble by the MRP.
Yeah, sling tackle on Dangerfield. Yeah.
So then, if he goes, and that obviously, like, O'Meara comes in, but like, it doesn't really treat what happened last night. Like, who didn't perform, who comes in for them. Like, I think even players like Harry Morrison, I think, it's good playing youngsters like him, but I just wasn't sure about him tonight. I think his problem is he doesn't lower his eyes with the ball. He just loves to put it on his boot. And we need to remove that out of our game. I think we need to get back to hitting targets. I think that's something that Warple's improved a lot on as well. I noticed he hits targets a lot, but
he's been more considerate
as well. But that's basically all in a nutshell.
One here from James. He's mentioned two players. Get Harry Jones in, and what about Darren Minchington?
Yes,
I'm a big rap for Harry Jones. I mean, he would have debuted last season had he not done his knee for Box Hill against Frankston. So he definitely would have debuted last season. And there's a lot of Hawthorn fans getting excited about him. And Darren Minchington, do you reckon he's worth a punt as a small forward for a couple of games?
Yeah, well, I think with Harry Jones, I think he's near ready for a debut. I think him and Cousins are neck and neck for being the next in line for that midfield. I always thought Cousins always did a job for us whenever he came into the side. He was just the unlucky
He's not flash,
but
he just does his job. Yeah,
I just think he would have been good on a night like tonight because he just gut runs. Even wing. That's why I appreciated Wingard's performance tonight, because he was just running at everything. I noticed. Even though it didn't always come to fruition. I think Harry Jones, I think he will be a player. Darren Mitchington, he could be, again, like, we don't have a VFL system. We don't know, like, if these players need games. But I reckon he could potentially slide into that forward line, but it's just, there's a lot of things have to go right. Like, you could put a player like him, and he could be capable, like, they need the service as well. You've got to win the midfield. You need, like, you could throw anyone in that forward line, but if they're not getting the ball, it's going to be so much harder.
One final question for you. Lewis or O'Brien?
Based on tonight's performance, I think Mitch Lewis gets the nod, purely because I think O'Brien, in a marking contest, he does all the hard things right. Like, he gets into the position. He just doesn't grab it. He doesn't do the easy part. He just doesn't hold on to the ball. Whereas I reckon I'd back Mitch Lewis more as well. And I think we've proven in the past that we can win games with two tall forwards, with Buddy and Rufford. So I wouldn't mind seeing Patton and Lewis as one of them being stay-at-home forwards and then just working around them. I just don't think O'Brien's doing enough right now to justify his place in the team. Like, to take away the goal he scored tonight. Like, he didn't really do enough tonight.
It seemed, obviously, Lewis missed round one because he rolled that ankle against Melbourne down in Tas in the pre-season game, and O'Brien played. I think they wanted to stick with a lot of the team that beat Brisbane, and obviously O'Brien was in that team. So I think they're going to give him first shot at playing that second tall behind Patton. But, Lewis's second half to last season was mightily impressive. 20 goals in 12 games, contested marking numbers were great. What is he, 21, I think, Mitch Lewis? So there's, he's very, because he made his debut, then he got dropped, then he came back and was most impressive. So a lot of people in the comments and, on other places are all for Mitch Lewis. So it will be interesting to see what changes are made for the game against Richmond. It's a short turnaround. Thursday night at the MCG. So, and our record against Richmond isn't the best. So, we'll have to hold our hats and see how we go. Dean, thank you very much, and we'll hopefully speak to you very soon. Thank you.
Hopefully, we get some wins.
Well, fingers crossed. Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dean.
Take care.